Welcome to the Asian session strategy that will make you thousands. As you guys can see on screen here, proof of concept, and I take these trades live, as well as I put them in the Discord and was able to bank off of these trades. I'm going to show you guys exactly how I did it, so let's get straight into it. Alright boys, for this one I'm going to be bringing back the presentations. So obviously we're going to be giving a little bit of an overview and just a complete understanding of what I'm going to be looking for and how we're going to be trading the Asian session. Okay? Sometimes you don't need to trade the Asian session at all. It sets up a potential range and liquidity targets for London and New York. There's always lower volatility usually, especially compared to the New York or London session. And the first hour can also act as a Judas swing if price doesn't expand from our in-dog or in-wog to a previous session liquidity level. Obviously, if there's a fat ass in-dog or in-wog, that's what, we're going to be riding the displacement, riding the trend. I usually don't look for these to get flipped and filled. I look for them to get souped into and used internal to external. If we think of Asia in a power of 3 standpoint, it typically represents an accumulation, so we don't always want to be looking to trade the Asian session. The only time we want to trade the Asia session is after a large daily manipulation where either the day or 2 day can hold like a rejection block. We need to always remember that liquidity pools are above session highs and lows, with internal targets usually within inside the Asian range. External targets lie with outside. So usually preparing for a London session, the Asian session will not break a higher high or a lower low. If price does not react to levels by 8:30 or 9:30 p.m., consolidation is likely. That doesn't mean that, one time or another has to do this, it has to do that, right? Price can, act unaccordingly and act inside of an high probability time and displace towards your drawn liquidity. You have to understand if the damage has been done higher time frame into the previous session into your if then. I can still take turtle soups with an if then mentality, so it's not reacting to price. You know what price should do, and you're reacting when it does. You can have a basic time structure here with 6 to 10 setting the stage, 10 to 2 featuring a low volume of a sweep of a session high or low, setting the liquidity for London, right? This 10 to 2 can also be a high volume or high volatility, right, sweep inside of that 4-hour candle that can set the high or low for the day. It depends what the session looks like, especially on a 1 to 4-hour candle basis. We always will look for our turtle soup setups to target liquidity within FEGs, order blocks, and above our old high or lows. With the relationship to London and New York session, the London session manipulates the Asian range, taking one side before entering the distribution phase. If the Asian high or low holds, it suggests a protected range into New York, signaling continuation after a London manipulation. We always want to use our power of 3, MMXM, and SMT concepts inside of Asia, as it just because it's Asia doesn't mean anything is different. We always will look for a big thick down closure candle if we're bullish, a CSID after a liquidity sweep, right? And we can use order blocks as entries and exits for the next session. If we, are trading Asia, usually I'll TP with inside of the range and then go break even just because I know it has the chance to consolidate. Now that you have an understanding, you also need to know the strategy. I look for an in-wog or in-dog with displacement. I look for us to run internal into the in-wog. I want to make sure that we're in order flow, right? Obviously, price has been bullish. We've swept out these lows here, right? Even into a double tap of sweeping out the lows again, right? Into this big candle, right? 1, 2, 3 taps, right? Even, right, driving into our previous down closure candle here, right? So, Thursday could have been a hard day. That doesn't matter. We see what the PM session does, and it puts in a protected low into an in-dog, right, with large displacement. You could FOMO inside of here, maybe, FOMO to these equal highs, because we already know there's a strong draw on liquidity on these, right? What we don't do is FOMO, and we see how we put in triple equal highs now, right? So we have a decent draw on liquidity. We're inside of order flow. We have our internal to external, and we have an in-wog, right, our in-dog. So all we have to do now is see, right, what happened. Well, we've had big, thick down closure candles into our internal level, right, our in dog, we can see that we've closed above our previous down closure candle and even used it as support inside of this 15-minute candle. We've ran the internal into the fair value gap here, failed to close, and then ran higher, closed above, and then used that previous down closure candle as support higher here. We have our market maker buy model here into our original consolidation. So let's go down to the 5-minute, even on an hourly. Right, sweep out the low. And obviously I preach. Let me undo that real quick. I preach the higher time frame. We can see 4-hour CSID closure, fair value gap, right, volume imbalance into right your order block there. Not a clear hourly order block, right? 3 thick down closure candles, but right, our 4-hour looks really clean. We sweep out the low back inside the range. Even look at the daily, right, into your previous down closure, right? We've turtle souped the lows here, displaced, order blocks here, breaker blocks, however you want to look at it on whatever time frame. Even right on the weekly, we've come in, open low into our previous down closure candle. Now we're moving higher. So let's go back to the low time frame now that we've set up the high time frame. Now we come to the 5-minute and things are looking super clear. We can see that we've come in and we've swept the low out inside of this in-dog here. We've touched the 4-hour order block inside. We saw on the higher time frame, and we've first tap and second tapped into this turtle soup here. Right, first big thick down closure candle here, and we see we've hit the second turtle soup. I tell you guys, we often have almost 2 type of algorithm that's run. We have our big thick down closure, anticipated failure swing, and then runs our big thick down closure candle, another run out, and then it runs higher. You guys also saw that on the higher time frame here. So we continue forward. What do we see? Right, we obviously need to be able to position ourselves inside of this accumulation leg of our market maker model. Right, we see we're accumulating above our first leg here, right, higher time frame breaker block, so we will use it as support higher. Right, can we dig in and sweep this low resistance? Yes, we can. And what makes me think that? Right, we see our 2 a.m. open here, so we cannot get FOMO. We have this entire range here, but what I want to see is this low act as protected. So I come in from this high to this low, and I can see that we have an equilibrium right under these low resistance and not equal but relative equal lows here. Right, so we take that off, we'll take this off, right, and now we'll come on to a 15-minute. Let's see what the 30-minute actually looks like. Right, we have an obvious fair value gap, and we haven't quite closed displaced. There's been no real manipulation for 130, so I would really want to see us if we can tap into this. Also, my hourly close, right, we've technically inversed this fair value gap here, right, but I'm not really so as worried about that as more as, right, if we look inside of the displacements of the market maker model, right? So after we displace higher, I'll see this support inside of here, right? And then after we displace higher, we'll see support inside of here, right? And then as well as inside of our market maker from the sell side of the curve, right? Seeing this here into our buy side of the curve. And you guys can see, as always, before we manipulate into that final down, that final manipulation leg, right? We reaccumulate, manipulate hard, reaccumulate, manipulate hard into our reversal, right? Lower low, higher high, right? We can even see here, right, with no breakaway gap, an EQ of the range delivered higher. So what would we be anticipating now? If we didn't catch this soup, we didn't catch here, right? We still have an entry inside of this reaccumulation leg. I would want 2 to open, right? See if we, have a need to either want to use this as a breakaway gap, right? Or if we, want to come in and sweep it. Especially, with the 15-minute, right? Leaving this low resistance, right? And us not tapping this, I can see us coming back and using it, and as well as it being the Asian and London session, you are less likely to see breakaway gaps. So we can see we've swept that high, came back inside of the range. We can see as a range hole, right? We're coming into a premium, right? So this would almost like this entry here would be dead perfect, right? Coming into a discount here, coming into a discount at this leg, right? We'll be in a discount of like multiple legs. So that's really what I would be anticipating here, right? If we don't sweep that, I would need a good CSID to be able to then use it to run higher, especially into this 2, right? We see our 2 open, right? And what did we see over here, right? We saw our 10 open, low, reaccumulate, or excuse me, our open, low, and just to our high close, right? Even here, right, we open low, then high closed on a lower time frame. So we open low, right? No real CSID, right? Where, yeah, we wick that out and close back inside the range, but, we still have this 15-minute candle here that now we've got equal lows. So now I'd definitely be looking, if there was an SMT, I don't think it would even really specifically matter. I'd be looking, for something like this. And, even in a situation like this, right, this low to the left should be protected inside of, right, our turtle soup low right here. So we come back to the 5-minute, right? We'll be able to, catch that to the high, right? And this is, an easy 3R. So let's come to the lower time frame, see if it'll play out for us. I don't know if I quite tapped into that. Right, I didn't. So now my entry would be in the 5-minute CSID, right? Checking the 15-minute as well. Yep, 15-minute looks great. So let's continue, see if we get tapped in. We're tapped in. And now we see we're using that FEG as support higher here, right? The displacement in between our reaccumulation legs. And then we will finish off our buy model there. Right? Absolutely beautiful. And absolutely nothing about this was hindsight because we held to the high and we were able to add in here. And I mean, just absolutely beautiful trade, right? We took the soup, took the CSID, added in here, and then didn't have any entries here, but just watched it run, and before called this FEG to support price, as we can see, even right, the previous accumulation leg of the market maker model. We can also see if we swap to a 1-hour time frame, taking all this off the chart, right? What do we have here? An opposing order block, so that's where we were able to take profit. Somewhere in those lows, seeing it displace and boom, right? Because these, if we have triple, quadruple equal highs, right, with the accumulation, manipulation, distribution, we know we'll distribute past these and, into these highs eventually as well. Also, just something to keep in mind, as you guys can see here from our market maker model video, right? This 4-hour market maker model looks exactly like that, that 1-minute, 5-minute, 15-minute market maker buy and sell model as well, right? Even using the FEGs in the displacement right over here to support price higher, even the displacement inside of these, right, to then support price higher. Obviously, we have each leg of price that does its own thing. You need to have an understanding of it, but you guys can see how this looks, pretty similar to the previous part of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to leave it here. If you remember the first part of the video as well, you guys could see the date on those trades. So go look at your chart yourself, check the chart. I feel like it'd be a good study session instead of me just covering the 2nd day, the 3rd day, the 4th day, because every single day looks the exact same. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until the next one, have a great one. Peace.